Are you stuck working for a boss that you have figured out is actually toxically positive? I know the word toxic and positive don't usually go together, but this is the boss where the only news is good news. And the only acceptable way to feel is enthusiastic and optimistic. That's as much of a problem as the boss who's perpetually down in the dumps. So what can you do if you are stuck working for a toxically positive boss? Well, first of all, it is really important that you stand on guard. It's important that you keep anticipating what could be coming at the team, that you stay connected to people outside the strange bubble of happiness and positivity that your boss lives in, and keep ways to mitigate risks even from, other folks who are engaged, because ultimately pretending that everything is going to go well doesn't work for very long. And if things do go south, it can be a huge problem for your own reputation, not just for Mr. Positive. The second thing you want to do is make sure that you can engage with your manager by starting out your statements with something positive. I know it feels crappy to have to manipulate how you engage with your manager, and it's certainly not ideal, but I'm trying to give you some strategies for what to do if this is the reality you're stuck in. So I know when somebody presents a plan that has holes in it, or there's just no way that's going to work, you think that sharing those concerns is being realistic and just being right. But unfortunately, that's probably not how your boss sees it. So the key thing is to learn to start with a positive framing. So if somebody says, I think we need to do store expansion into the Western region, you can say, the Western region is a really big opportunity. It's a huge market. Positive, positive, positive. I'm interested in how well our product mix fits in the Western region. What would it take for us to capitalize on that big market? Now, you haven't gone so far as to say, there's no way, it would cost us a fortune. It doesn't fit us at all. And what are we thinking? You're not going to that point because the boss would shut right down in that situation, but you are, at least highlighting that there is a risk here, there's an issue here, and your positive framing and use of questions is going to make it much more likely that your toxically positive boss will at least engage, and that your colleagues will probably help you as well. The third thing is, with a toxically positive boss, it's as though that negativity bias in their brain is really working overtime. They're seeing everything in the world as threat, and they're trying to create these shields to protect them from that risk. And they try and use optimism and delusion as that shield. So it's really important that if you want to get through that shield, you need to have methods and ways of saying things that are not perceived as risk or threat. So you can kind of go around the shield. So again, I wish I didn't have to say this. I wish this didn't exist. It's certainly not how it should be. But coming up with new language and new ways of talking about things that can go around that shield undetected is probably a useful strategy. So what do I mean by that? I mean, stop calling it a risk mitigation plan, because even the term risk may cause your toxically positive boss to bristle. And instead, it's your success formula. Okay, what do we think are the key things in the success formula here? What do we have to pay attention to? What do we have to do to make sure that this works? Instead of looking at a graph that goes like this and saying, this is not picking up like we expected it to, try something again, a more positive framing. So, what do you see as the changes we're going to have to make to get on a winning trajectory? A winning trajectory, again, there's still truth in there. It's just evading the shields by framing it in a way that your toxically positive boss is hopefully going to let through. It sucks to work with a toxically positive boss. It sucks because there's a lot of risk for your business. You're probably not paying attention to issues that really deserve lots of energy and at least a plan B. Not a lot of plan Bs with toxically positive bosses, because what could go wrong? It's also a really difficult place to be because you can't even express your concerns or be anything other than yay, all the time. So it's not a situation I encourage you to stay in for very long, or if you don't have to. But sometimes we have to cope with managers for a variety of reasons that are not what we would like. And in that case, we need to use these strategies. So try them. Make sure you're standing on guard and anticipating and creating bridges to other folks so that your business is at less risk. Make sure you're framing things positively, and then find some new language that allows you to evade those shields that tend to go up. All right, toxically positive bosses totally suck, but you know what? There are other bosses that suck just as much, like these ones.